And we're back to another episode of Zaddy Ball with the first time guest here on Zaddy Ball, premier guest, big time guest, been killing it in the offseason guest. I know what player is wearing what number guest. Yes, that is Steph Sanchez, 49ers gold mine, but you know her better on the 49K pod. How's everything going, Steph?
Pretty good. I like that name, Zaddy Ball.
Zaddy,
It Leo came up with it, but what I will say is this. This feels like the OG Goldmine group, and this feels good. This is warming my heart, and I am bursting with joy, even though I am about to burst with anger when we start to talk about our statements. But Steph is phenomenal. You guys know her. Make sure you're subscribed to her channel. We're streaming on all three channels. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell when you know all three of us are going live. Steph does a phenomenal job. She was great with the UDFA tracker, with the rookies, the visiting tracker, the numbers, everything. Steph is phenomenal at what she does, man. And if you guys don't know, I don't think that there's many of you that don't. You guys need to be tapped in with Steph. So it's good to see her on here.
Hey, tell me why I was low-key excited for a second. I thought that was a mango cart in the background, Steph, but that's a bubbly, ain't it?
Yes, it's the bubbly mango flavor, which is personally my favorite. But
I'm mango as hell, so I'll take it. There we go. Shout out to the rest of you in the comments. I see some of the spicy squad in the comments here out of Jason's channel, Warren, Arturo, as well as some of the regulars that are here. Make sure that you comment here with us as we go along, because I'm going to be reading those. And if it's fire, I'm going to be posting those. And if you're dropping any of the super chats, obviously you're going to be a priority. We'll stop whatever we're doing. Get that super chat here on the screen. So let's talk about it. What the hell is going on? What the hell? Alarms going off. Like, what the hell is going on? Mavericks down. Oh, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about the Mavericks. We got Trey Lance slander. I feel this feels like it's the normal. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo's out the door. Now let's slander the next 49ers quarterback. And that's how you know Trey Lance is the next 49. He's starting week 1 because the media is starting to slander the man. They were pretty quiet after the draft, or after Jimmy Garoppolo essentially started week 1. There was nothing about Trey Lance. Now he's being prepared. They're preparing him to be a starting quarterback here with the 49ers with this slander. And I think Hendrick said it earlier in the comments, is how the hell are you gonna, rank this man already when he hasn't been a full season starter? He hasn't made back-to-back starts in the NFL, and you're already gonna rank him, say 31 of 32. And I think that list was completely ugly. Like, just seeing Trey Lance in there with the Sam Darnold, with these other quarterbacks that are not the guy.
Tyler Huntley, the backup quarterback Huntley for Baltimore.
He's in there with him, and it's just like, what are we doing? Can we just at least do tiers? Like, okay, these are elites, these are Pro Bowls, these are above average, these are remains to be seen. Not, put them in there with quarterback 2s or guys that are just holding on to a starting job, aka Sam Darnold. Jay, get it off your chest. I know you're ready to pop off.
Here it comes.
It's a family show. Just keep in mind it's a family show.
No, it is. Look, if you want to have concerns and criticisms, that's fine. But here's the problem. The same things that bother me about the way that black quarterbacks get criticized is now becoming what Trey Lance is. And I'm not saying that it's because he's black. What I mean by that is, it is the same script for every black quarterback that is now the same thing that everybody is saying about Trey Lance. And it's not the same thing. So let me clarify. When you talk about a black quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Cam Newton, anybody, right? It's always this. Can't read the field, holds the ball too long, one read and go, uses his legs, looks to run. Okay, that's how you basically, I've done the media's job of how everyone evaluates black quarterbacks. It's literally copy and paste on all of that. Now we're talking about Trey Lance, and it's copy and paste for all of these people saying he's underwhelming. They don't know if he can pick up the playbook. I've spoken to. During training camp, didn't see any of you there, not you, Chris Sims. And then Chris Sims wants to talk about tape. And it's funny because I know you've watched it, Chris Sims. You better have. It's your job. And he's like, throughout the games, they're just trying to get him to 50%. How many games? 3? 2.5? So why are you making it seem like it's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games of this? Nothing's easy is what I heard from him. Yeah, Elijah Mitchell touchdown in the red zone literally was one of those Jimmy gimmies that when Jimmy throws it, what a leader! Oh, man, did you see that throw? What a leader! Look at him. But when Trey does it, man, that was like he had to reach back a little bit. The problem is this. If you want to have your criticisms of Trey Lance, fine, go for it. Because nobody's perfect. I've got criticisms for every single quarterback. That includes Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, all of them. Doesn't mean that they don't win in different ways. But when it's the same exact thing, and when it comes from people who are not around the team, ever, you're not at practice, never saw you at camp, weren't at the joint practices, guys that cover the Philadelphia Eagles or have something to say about what they've heard about Trey Lance. First of all, who are you speaking to? You're not speaking to anybody on this staff. The staff hasn't even had a chance to get their hands around them because of the changeovers. Okay, so that's wrong. But players are telling you that they're worried about Trey Lance. Give me a break. Fred Warner, Trent Williams have gone out of their way to praise him, and others, George Kittle, have gone out of their way to praise him. So who are you speaking to? Wide receiver 6 on the team? The guy who never played? Like, who has these concerns? And who would go out of their way to say these things about Trey Lance? Last thing I'll say is this. Arm fitness? Really? So for everybody that yells at us for, man, y'all are reaching and y'all make stuff up for clicks, y'all better get on every single national media person's ass. Arm fitness? From a person that used to actually play the game. And this is my point. Just because you played in the NFL doesn't mean that your word is gold or that you're smart. Rant over. Steph, do you have any level-headed takes, please?
That was great. To start with like Chris Sims, because like honestly, when I saw that he ranked Trey Lance like 31st, I was just like, I don't have time for this today. Like, I didn't even look at it. I didn't engage with it. What I did see today, I guess he like tried to explain why he had Trey Lance ranked at 31. And he said like, well, because Trey Lance is an unknown. I didn't hear anything else, all that other stuff he said. So not to say that I agree with anything or any of that, but I do agree with the point that it is fair to say, you know, he's an unknown, so I'm going to rank him lower because I don't know. Like, that's okay. That's okay. And I think that's what bothered me most about what Ryan Harris said and what other people have said about Trey Lance, because they're making like definitive statements about Trey Lance and what I can only assume are comments that were based off of last year. You know, and they're coming out now. So let's just talk about, you know, some of the things he said. Again, like leaving a lot to be desired, questioning if he can digest the playbook. Let's talk about that for a second. We can talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that Trey Lance, his psychological tests in the pre-draft process, those were called off the charts. Okay, that was reported. We know this. Also, I mean, a lot of coaches have come out to say that, you know, Trey Lance, one of the smartest quarterbacks that they've worked with. Like, his coaches that he has direct contact with have said that they praise his intelligence all the time. Furthermore, North Dakota State, they used a lot of the same concepts that the 49ers use, that Kyle Shanahan uses. So it's not making sense to me. Something's not adding up. You know, that to me doesn't make any sense. So that's one. The other thing he said, which you mentioned, Jay, the arm fitness. What the fuck is arm fitness? I don't know about you guys, but I literally have never, and you know, I'm not a genius when it comes to football, but like I've literally never heard anyone use this term, arm fitness. So he said that people are questioning his arm fitness or whatnot. And he doubled down today, or Jay, I saw that post you posted, like a screenshot of him explaining what arm fitness was to everyone. And this is what he said, is the ability to consistently throw the football all season long. Does that make sense to anyone? Like that doesn't even make any sense. That's just a quarterback. You just described being a quarterback. So what are you saying? Trey Lance can't be a quarterback? Arm strength, by the way, we all know this. This was one of the main things that we've all talked about. Trey Lance, this is like one of his best attributes, his arm strength. So how are we going to sit here and believe this man talking about, oh, he has trouble digesting the playbook, oh, he has trouble with, arm fitness, arm strength, whatever. Now, I'm sorry, my cat is pissed off about this as well.
The cat's fed up too. Yeah, Steph.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, right? I was 22 once. When I did things at 22, I could do them over and over and over and over and had no problem, and I wasn't a professional athlete. How is this a concern for a 22-year-old quarterback, and why is this not a concern for any other quarterback in the history of the NFL?
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing, man? I'm sorry. I don't want to yell. I want everybody to speak too. I want you to finish your thought and then pass it to Leo. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, that they're not even trying anymore. Like, these are just some lazy things that are being said and ones that aren't even true. And I get it's a dead part of the off season. It's say anything season, really. Like when you have to talk about sports all day, you have to be creative. You got to come up with stuff. Fine. But it's not fair to, talk about Trey Lance, who only has 2 starting games under his belt, and make these definitive statements about him. And the thing that pisses me off the most is, what's going to happen? The first report we see that Trey Lance has thrown, interception or 2 in training camp. What the first thing we're going to see? We're going to see all these people, with their victory laps, pounding their chest, thinking they were right about Trey Lance this whole time. No. And on the other side of the argument as well, like, we can't make definitive statements that, like, Trey Lance is automatically the next coming of Patrick Mahomes as well. So it goes both sides. Okay, you can't make these statements. We don't know. Let the kid play. Okay, that's all I ask. Let the kid play. It's ridiculous to criticize him based on 2 games. If you want to judge him based on, last year and what happened last year, fine. But it's a new year. It's the off season. Let him go through this entire off season. Let him go through training camp. Let him go through this season. Hell, even a couple seasons. We forget the fact that Josh Allen, it took him 3 years to, like, acclimate to his offense and being as effective of a quarterback as he is today, which we compare Trey Lance to Josh Allen quite often because they're both raw and they have, like, some of the same physical attributes and skill sets. So give him that chance. And one last thing. Sorry, Leo, like, I'm going off here, but one last thing. Because I saw someone say, like, it's not fair that, people can slander Trey Lance, but, when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, like, you guys run to slander Jimmy. The difference between talking about and criticizing Jimmy Garoppolo is we have a large sample size and we have a lot of proof that we can point to and say, Yes, we have data points. We have spreadsheets. No, but really, like, that's the difference. The fact that we don't know what Trey Lance is, we haven't seen enough of what Trey Lance is to make these definitive statements. That's the difference. So let him play, man. Like, just tell me when the start of the season happens, because I'm just tired of all this.
Steph, we don't know what Trey Lance is. We know damn well what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And there was a lot of, please think about Jimmy Garoppolo today. Energy. I am not thinking about that millionaire who is making Subway commercials. I promise you, that man will be fine. Leo, go ahead.
You fine as hell when you lose your job and you still get a commercial deal. What the hell? I've never seen that before. No, but I'll say this. It's kind of like, I'm going to touch on this Jimmy Garoppolo thing. It's where like I think a lot of us got sour like after the Super Bowl was kind of just like opened our eyes a little bit like, man, this guy's not Jesus. This man did not save the franchise. And then that was after the 2019 season into the playoffs. 2020 came and we realized, man, this guy's not that good. Maybe we should upgrade the quarterback position. And that was after the 2020 season. And a lot of people were like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. You're just slandering Jimmy Garoppolo. And then 2021 came. Obviously, they selected Trey Lance in that offseason. 2021 came, and it was more of the same things. The inconsistencies of Jimmy Garoppolo, someone who's still having trouble delivering the ball and, well, I should say not turning over the ball in the middle of the field. Yet that's your primary decision. That's your primary location. And you're having trouble not turning over the ball from there. So that's where a lot of people started getting sour with Jimmy Garoppolo. We had over 20 games of data to realize who he was. We were going into the 30 games of data to realize who he was. Before the rest of us said, you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy, and the 49ers should look to move on. Hell, for people to tell me, oh, you're a Jimmy hater, I will tell you first. I said, don't sign Tom Brady. Jimmy Garoppolo's young. He has one full season under his belt. You know, he's going to get better. I said that.
I said that too, and I feel stupid.
Yeah, I feel stupid now too, but that's what I did with that little bit of data that I saw from Jimmy Garoppolo. And now that I got more data from him, I'm like, yeah, he's not it. He's not a guy. Like you need every piece of the puzzle to fit in order to win a Super Bowl. Trey Lance has the ability to have, say, puzzle pieces from a different set and he's able to mesh it together. And, you know, eventually you could get to that Lombardi. Now, he has that potential. Whether he gets there or not, you know, that's a different story. If I knew what was going to happen in the future, if I was what Back to the Future and I had that sports book, and I would make all the bets now. But I don't. I'm just saying from a traits perspective, from everything you hear in the locker room, that's where people like Jason, Steph, everybody here in the comments, Hendricks, my dad here in the comments, that's where a lot of us say, I want Trey Lance to start, is because he has those traits. We haven't had this 30 games of data. Oh, there you go. My guy Joey hit it. Okay, Biff. From Back to the Future, where he had that sports book there. Like, we don't have that 20 games of data. We have 10 fucking quarters. Excuse me.
No, and it's all right. We're allowed a certain amount before they, so we're up to 2. I mean, I love it, guys. Keep going.
And they weren't consecutive. It was at most 4 quarters at a time.
Yeah.
That's it. And then when he played 2 quarters against Seattle, did he have game prep? Like, was that game plan for him? Is it even to say Arizona he was ready to go in there for a game plan perspective, since they were waiting for Jimmy Garoppolo up until Friday? So we had 2 days to get this guy installed into the offense and get going against a team that was undefeated at the time, a team that had J.J. Watt on the line, a team that had Chandler Jones on the line. Hell, Chandler Jones made Trey Lance run out of the bucket the very first play of the game because somebody forgot to block him, and Trey Lance did what he did and got a 20-yard scramble for a first down, very first play of the game. And then the next game against the Houston Texans, another one of those situations. We did not know if Jimmy Garoppolo was starting until that Friday came along. 49ers may have known sooner than us, but realistically, they probably wanted Jimmy in there because of the experience, the flow, the rhythm of the offense. You don't want to just switch that up 2 weeks before playoffs that you may or may not get in. So it's like all that's got to be taken into consideration when you're looking at it. To say 50, Shanahan was trying to get him over to 50%. Like, dude, like what goalposts are you kicking at, man?
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, Shanahan's got Jimmy Garoppolo at 69%. Like, come on. Like, is Jimmy Garoppolo that accurate? Is he just insanely accurate?
Right. Here's the thing, Leo. Are we all haters, Or should you hate your front office for flirting with every single able-bodied two-armed quarterback right after the Super Bowl to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo? I'll wait. I'll let somebody else, jump in real quick because the Brady thing happened right after the Super Bowl. Your coach went on podcast, talked about how he wanted Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you that if you have a problem with our opinions on Twitter, then you should hate your front office, your coach, your general manager, because they've been trying to move on from him since the 49ers, unfortunately, lost the Super Bowl in 2019. It's like none of you guys have critical thinking skills at times. Not none. Our viewers are the smartest. There's a section of 49er fans that lack critical thinking skills. And that's the thing that bothers me the most. Oh, because we got a comment earlier today. Well, you've been slandering a guy who won 70% of the games. Yeah, your front office slandered him when they openly flirted with Tom Brady. And the only reason Tom Brady's not here is because they didn't want to give him 40 M's. They openly tried to get Matthew Stafford. The only reason Matthew Stafford is not here is because the Rams moved on from Jared Goff. Good.
So we got the Ramalia Sports Report in here. And he says, question, does Kyle even seem like he really wants to develop a young, inexperienced QB in his 7th year of his tenure? And has Kyle even shown he can develop a young QB? Examples, Mullins, Beathard, and Jim. Bro, the examples. You're talking about Mullins, Beathard, and Jimmy. Do those guys have Trey Lance's traits? No, they do not. Jimmy Garoppolo has face of the franchise traits, for sure. You could win a ton of games. It's evidence. It's in the data. You could win a ton of games with Jimmy Garoppolo. Mullins shouldn't be in the NFL. Beathard shouldn't be in the NFL. They hit the lottery. Freaking jackpot. Congratulations to them two. And Jimmy Garoppolo is, a top 20 quarterback. Trey Lance's traits, I would say top 20.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. I'll say top 20. But that's why the 49ers are moving on from Jimmy, because it's really hard to say we're going to win a Super Bowl with the 20th best quarterback in this league. That's very difficult. That's why the 49ers moved on. Now, when you look at the upside from these guys, like it's Trey Lance, and it's not even close. Trey Lance is at the ceiling. These guys, Jimmy Garoppolo is halfway there, and then Mullins and Beathard are the ones sweeping up the floor. Like, come on, like look at the examples. The examples tell you that in its own right. And in his 7th year, you think Kyle cares what year it is? He bought him some time. He's got 2 NFC championships in the last 3 years appearances. It's not like it's not a make it or break it year with Kyle. It's not like if the 49ers go 8-9 that Jarrett Bailey loves destroying Twitter for. If they go 8-9,
hold on. Hey, Leo, come on. We can take shots at Garoppolo. We can take shots at whoever the hell we want. Chill, man. Jared's still our guy in real life.
He is our guy.
We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree with his football takes.
8-9 popped in my head, and then I thought about Jared, so it just came out.
But Jared knows what he's doing also, by the way. But let's just keep it going. I'm sorry.
Yes. So the 49ers go 8-9, miss the playoffs, year 1 under Trey Lance as a full-time starter. It's not like Kyle's gone. He's not going anywhere.
What? One more thing, too, about Jimmy. This is a business. If the 49ers moved on from that guy on my shirt, no one is safe in this world. So for the Rams, right? They had Jared Goff for a little while, and they thought it was cool, right? They made the Super Bowl. Offense was humming, right? You thought you had your guy. You know what? After the Super Bowl, they realized they needed more. It's a business. Guess what they did? They shipped him off, and guess what they had? A Super Bowl. The goal is a Super Bowl. Forget people's feelings. This is a business, and it's not personal. And it happens all the time. Alex Smith was fine for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? Patrick Mahomes gave more. Okay, there's plenty of quarterbacks in this league that have been fine. But you move on because they can't get it done for you. Okay? That's it. And stop with this boo-hoo. Oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo's feeling. It's a business. The man is going to be fine. Okay? It's enough. There is a track record of quarterbacks who have been fine in this league that don't move the needle and get it done. So you move on and you look to upgrade. I don't know why there's a disconnect with this. I don't know how people don't understand this point. So I don't know how we even got on this guy again when we're supposed to be defending Trey Lance's honor.
Dude, I was on a Spaces earlier, and like we started
I
talking
can't
about
do
Trey
those.
Lance,
I
and
can't do those.
somehow like we just got on the topic of Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm like, guys, like I'm so done talking about him. Like we've talked about him enough. Like I know I can speak for all of you guys when I'm like, respectfully, like I am tired of him, and like he had one foot out the door. So let's just put the Jimmy talk to rest.
And I'd like to make it known, because I seen rebuilt a couple times in the chat. Moving to Trey Lance is not a freaking rebuild.
Yeah,
It's
who said
not.
that?
Don't
It's not.
Don't
It's
engage.
not.
I've seen the comments. Don't engage. Just
It's not a
let's
rebuild.
engage. Let's engage with the level-headed
Jimmy-
people, and we can
Jimmy
yell.
Garoppolo had a sub 70 passer rating in 3 playoff games.
And thank you for
And
block
three-
punts
how-
and block
how
field
mu-
goals, and all of a
how
sudden,
much-
boom, you're in the
A
NFC
sub
Championship.
70. That, if somebody does that for a career, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo's better than in his career. He's a 98 quarterback rating as a 49er in the regular season. Playoffs come, and he's a sub 70 quarterback rating. Like, dude, they won 2 games
Well,
at Dallas, at Green Bay with that quarterback performance. This is not a rebuild. This team's going to win a lot of games next year.
So let's take it to that, okay? The 49ers won 2 playoff games with mid quarterbacking. Can we agree? Okay? Are you telling me that Kyle Shanahan, the master of getting guys wide open, the Jimmy Gimme God, the guy who has gotten Jimmy Garoppolo his status in this league, not Bill Belichick, Kyle Shanahan, you're telling me that guy who will run a run-first offense, give him those same exact layups that was given to Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, every single one of those guys. Can't do it for Trey Lance, and all of a sudden Trey Lance will not execute it. That is the part that I have to laugh at. Trey Lance doesn't have to come in here and beat Patrick Mahomes for this team to be successful.
Yep.
You know what he has to do? He has to beat Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of hit that guy right there. Hit that guy that's wide open. Hand that ball off to Deebo Samuel. Hand that ball off to Elijah Mitchell. Now, here's the difference, and here's what Trey Lance offers. When George Kittle is screaming up the seam by himself, Trey Lance is going to let that thing rip. Jimmy's going to throw that down to the check down. Now, is Trey going to hit Kittle over the middle? We're going to find that out pretty quickly. But I know this. Trey's going to let it rip. Jimmy would never. He would pat that thing, and he would throw it to the check down. That's why my favorite Trey Lance throw isn't the Deebo throw over the middle, isn't the Deebo throw against Seattle. It is the throw that is the Jimmy Gimme design to George Kittle. He sees it. It's there. He could throw it. It would be a 1-yard gain, just like Jimmy would throw it. He shakes the defender, gets him in the air, and throws it 10 yards down the field to a Trent Sherfield for a first down. That's the difference. That is the difference. He can get the same amount of what he got out of Jimmy Garoppolo with upside of being able to hit guys that he sees down the field, because Jimmy will not let it rip. He tried it in the home opener. He throws a pass to George Kittle, throws it in the air. Jair Alexander runs from the other sideline, and it had enough air under it that Jair Alexander ran from the other sideline and picked that thing off, man. Stop talking nonsense when you're talking about what you need from Trey Lance for this team to be somewhat successful. They don't need him to come in and be the man immediately. They need him to be at least Jimmy, and we just named him as 20 other guys with more upside, and they're going to run the shit out of the ball still. Why aren't you guys thinking about this properly? If he can prop up Nick Mullins, and Nick Mullins had as many passing yards in his first 3 games, or what is it? It was first 7 games, and the only 2 that had more passing yards than Nick Mullins in his first 7 starts were Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes. And you mean to tell me that Trey Lance can't get it done? I'm tired of y'all, man. Y'all make no sense. It's sickening.
I'll say this for the people that say, but Jimmy Garoppolo won 70% of the games. Okay, cool. If we want to be the QB wins crowd, Trey Lance is 1-1. The one team he lost to was who? The Arizona Cardinals. And who did Jimmy Garoppolo lose as well this year? The Arizona Cardinals. But yet, let's not talk about how Trey Lance's game against the Arizona Cardinals was on the road versus Kyler Murray with 2 days prepare. And Jimmy Garoppolo's game against the Arizona Cardinals was at home versus Colt McCoy. Oh, it gets better, though. Jimmy Garoppolo lost to the Cardinals the year before as well. So it's like, let's just keep it real. It's like that. Trey's 1-1, but like you could also measure against who the opponent was. It's not like Jimmy Garoppolo beat the Arizona. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't beat the Arizona Cardinals since 2019.
And
Let's keep it
2019
real.
was the outlier.
Yeah, since
That's the
2019.
outlier. That's not the rule.
He lost
That's
to
the
them in
exception.
2020. CJ Beathard beat them in 2020, and then Jimmy Garoppolo lost to them again in 2021. So he's 0-2 in his last 2 appearances against the Arizona Cardinals, and that's Trey Lance's loss if we want to be QB's win type of situation there.
Steph,
Wait, why are we comparing these two guys? I hate it.
Steph,
Yeah,
I would love to hear from you, Steph.
I'm just wondering how we got on the topic of Jimmy Garoppolo again.
It's because everybody's clutching their pearls about, oh, you guys are disrespecting. Bro, it's over.
It's over.
If you're so upset about Jimmy Garoppolo and how we've treated him, then pack your shit and go with him when he's gone or whatever. I'm tired of it, bro. I'm sorry, Steph. Go for it.
No, I'm totally with you. Like, and we got to remember, like we were saying, the bar for Trey Lance is to just be as good or whatever you want to call it, as effective as Jimmy Garoppolo. And he can do that because he has superior skill sets to Jimmy Garoppolo. Not to mention the fact that he has Kyle Shanahan as well. And we got to remember this team, they improved their defense. The cornerbacks are way better. The defensive line has incredible depth. And I would even say they've taken care of that edge spot opposite both. So this pass rush is going to be close, I think, to what it was in 2019. That makes everything so much easier for the quarterback. Like, so even if Trey Lance struggles, because Jimmy Garoppolo struggles too. We know this. Even if Trey Lance takes his lumps, he has some like rookie mistakes. I know it's his second year, but you know it's his first season as a full-time starter, so he will make rookie mistakes. Even if they have a situation around him that, I mean, sky's the limit, man. The at the point where he does figure it all out and he does surpass like the effectiveness of Jimmy Garoppolo, which, I mean, I don't think it should take very long. Sky's the limit for this team. So let's just talk about that and look forward to that. Let's not look in the past and talk about like how we treated Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay. Some of that was warranted, by the way.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Italiano sub anymore.
Hey, look, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. That kind of looks fire. And if it wasn't his name on it, and like let's say I was a fan of another team. Hey, look, man, that Capicola pepperoni, that's fire right there. Look, we have other topics. Let's talk about look. All right, look. Let's put a bow on this and let's finish it with Trey. Okay. Here's what I'll say. I'm tired of hearing about what you saw in camp. You weren't there. I'm tired of hearing about what his arm. Everybody knows he has an arm. I'm tired of hearing about how he's not smart. You're literally now going, and there's many people that have sent out tweets about so excited about Trey Lance. Well, now I'm kind of skeptical. How did that happen? You know how that happened? It gets you, Steph, Leo, me, all yelling, and the way to draw clicks to your story, your tweet, is to shake the hornet's nest that is 49ers Twitter. Once the national media got a taste of what it can be like after perpetuating all that Mac Jones, the 3 nonsense, they said, aha, Now we know how to bring clicks in. And how do you do that? Well, Jimmy Garoppolo is still around Jimmy Garoppolo is still around because his arm is bummy and nobody trades for a guy who is going to be with a bum up shoulder. And also, there's no way this man goes to training camp, because if that man gets injured in training camp because he is glass, then his contract becomes guaranteed. So it's not going to happen. Get it out of your mind. It's done. It's over. But for Trey, stop listening to people that are not around your team, that don't cover your team, that don't know what's going on, that say they heard from someone who isn't here. Mid-ass Scangarello, I'm looking at you. You're the one who's telling everybody all these things. No players telling anybody about this. Stop listening to Eagles guys that are saying this, Cowboys guys that are saying this. None of them have the pulse on this team at all or understand what's going on. And if you are one of the few people that actually believe that Mac Jones was really who Kyle wanted and he was pushed into Trey Lance, I have a bridge in Brooklyn that I would love to sell you, because there is nothing you can tell Kyle Shanahan about what he wants to do, and I've never seen a more stubborn head coach. Let the kid play. We don't know if he's going to be ready until he's ready, and I guarantee you at May 19th, he doesn't need to be ready because there's no football games on Sunday. Sorry, guys. Done and done.
How many times has John Lynch said that he defers the quarterback position to Kyle, and all of a sudden the pick that they traded all the way up for was not Kyle's pick? Yeah, weird. I'm not buying any of it. But we have a super chat here, so let's go ahead and get to it. Joshua, we appreciate you for joining us here and for the super chat. Once again, I said, someone drops a super chat, we're going to drop whatever's going on, and we're going to go ahead and talk on that super chat. So, Joshua, if they cut Jimmy G and he goes to the Seahawks, bro, the comparisons are going to be all people are talking about.
What comparisons?
Josh, here's the thing. Anybody who acquires Jimmy Garoppolo is getting a 1-2 win bump. That's it. The Seattle Seahawks, as constructed right now, are a 4-win team. So you can get Jimmy Garoppolo, and there's a huge mid-off going on at that quarterback room. I don't know if you guys saw the report today. Geno Smith is leading Drew Lock, and I cannot wait to see.
Word of the day, mid.
Here's the thing. If Houston trades for Jimmy Garoppolo, or if he signs with Houston, Houston goes from a 3-win team to a 4-win team. If Carolina picks up Jimmy Garoppolo, they go from a 5-win team to a 6-win team. If he goes to Seattle, they go from a 4-win team to a 5-win team. He's not good enough to lift a team that isn't a playoff team already into the playoffs. He would have to go to a team like the New Orleans Saints, who are a fringe team. If Jameis Winston goes down and Jimmy Garoppolo steps in, you know what? The Saints could make the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo. After that, if you're the Atlanta Falcons, let's say, and Marcus Mariota and all these, and Ritter and all those guys blow out their knees and you bring out Jimmy Garoppolo, you still win 4 games. He's not that guy, pal. So that's the thing. I don't care. Go to Seattle. I'm gonna take Leo's line on DJ Reed. Go to Seattle. The 49ers would love it. Fred Warner would have 8 interceptions in the game. Nobody cares, bro. He did it all training camp. So feed 54. So you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo can aid this 49ers team by signing with the Seattle Seahawks, because he would help this defense out a hell of a lot, because they know him and they intercepted him a ton of training camp. But you never heard anybody talk about that, huh? Because I was there. Fred Warner literally walked in on a pick 6, because that man is Ray Charles to underneath linebackers. Sorry.
Man, I'm just wondering, like, what comparisons are there to make? Like, it
just win-loss, I guess. Win-loss, team success.
I mean, I have no doubt that I think, Don Yee, that's his name, Don, right? Jimmy's agent, I'm sure they're eyeing the Seahawks. The 49ers wouldn't trade him there, so we just heard that.
Take that draft capital.
They
Take
should
that draft capital.
But Matt Mayoko, he said that, like, if no trade materializes, after Jimmy Garoppolo can throw again, they're gonna ask for a release. And yeah, I 100% think they would be eyeing the Seahawks, because that's the one place the 49ers would not trade him. But I, like Jason, like, I would totally welcome that. I think I mean, they talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. They prop him up. They praise him and all that. But you talk about his leadership and all that. When it comes to a game, like if I'm the defense, I'm licking my chops. Like, for the same reason Jason said, like Fred Warner's gonna get his, and they all know his tendencies.
The
So bring
line's
it on.
worse.
I mean, I'm not even worried about it. Bring it on.
The line's worse. They would sit there and eat on him. And DK Metcalf had a problem with Russell Wilson.
Right.
Hey,
I'm
Steph
sorry.
said, I'm pulling a Pat Bev. Pat Bev. Licking my chops.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't want
God.
to do that because that was
Hey, yo,
that was strange.
How does Tyler Lockett get involved in that offense?
Tyler Lockett demands a trade immediately. He's like, I'm out of here, bro. Like, I'm out. Like, that man is down.
Metcalf would demand a trade too. I'm surprised he hasn't yet.
I'm just saying, like, the only reason why you wouldn't want him to go to Seattle, because instead of being a 4-win team, they'll probably be a 6-win team, and maybe you want to avoid that for the Seattle Seahawks.
But Leo, that messes up their first round pick. Oh wait, they don't have one.
All right, well, we got another super chat here from Jesus. Once again, if you guys send the super chat, we're going to prioritize it, and that's going to be what we're going to jump on. So, Jesus, appreciate you here. Jimmy is a one-trick pony. Fans have to see it that if it was our defense that took us to the playoffs. That's true. Jimmy Garoppolo is a one-trick pony, just like my Dallas Mavericks. They're a one-trick pony as well. If they don't make the 3-point shot, they're donezo. Last night, they shot about 20% from 3. They were done. They were cooked. The Warriors left the Mavericks in the oven, and they burnt them. That's what that was.
I would like to personally let you guys know that I do not share Leo's views, opinions on what's going on right now. I know that most of our fan base are Warriors fans, including the young lady right underneath us.
No, look, I've cheered for the Warriors the whole entire run. Because
I'm a Luka fan, but I'm out of this. I'm out of it.
No, I will be happy. This is literally like, I'm happy with whatever the result is. You know what I mean? Like if the Warriors move on to the final,
so you're going full Rob Lowe. I hope both teams have fun. Like
yes, I hope everybody has fun.
Steph,
I hope they get
out of here. Steph,
he's gonna be happy. They get their Capri Suns. They get their orange slices after. They get the massage.
No,
I hope everybody just has fun at the end of the day.
We have other topics. Let's go. Let's hit the super chat. Let's go to the other. Oh my God!
Super chat, Romanoff. Appreciate you. Look, you guys got me stumbling out here. Aponte, you better be talking cash shit.
Yeah,
I love it, bro. Hella,
I appreciate
what
you.
my guy does.
Hey, look, this is what this show is for. During the week, I put on my analytic voice and I'm level headed and I try not to talk. But you know what? This is kind of more barbershop talk that we get to have, especially during the playoffs. We had Dallas fans in here talking crazy, speaking spicy, so we had to go with them. That's kind of what this show is. So that's why if you see me a little bit more turned, it's just because that's what this show is. And then, Steph's around too. And we were kind of talking in the group chat, like, yo, we letting the clip off on this one. Like, are we not letting this slide? Like, none of this Trey Lance is like, we were all like going in.
Yeah. What I was going to ask you is who, besides Trey Lance, who are you excited to see, say, take that next step? We saw that with DJ Jones previously. We've seen that with Jimmy Ward, not of recent, but it was a few years ago. Especially 2019, where he took that step, finally got a full-time position and developed from there. I think last year as well as Emmanuel Mosley, you could say, is the guy that took that step. Other than Trey Lance, because obviously that's like circling C on the test. It's probably going to hit. So
is that
who
true?
Are you?
I know. I'm like, wait, really?
Is it C or B? I haven't been in school in a minute. No, it's
okay.
It's
how'd you do on multiple choice, Leo?
I was about to say, man.
I did great. Honestly, I feel like my high school teachers just passed me because I was on the football team. So that's a different story for a different day. That's a different story for a different day.
It's because you had a beard in high school.
I did not, actually. I didn't grow mine until I was like 20, like 23, 22, something like that.
Oh, so like 4 years ago.
No, I'm
Just
old
say
now,
yes.
man. That was like 6 years
Get out
ago.
of here.
Just say
Look,
yes.
all right,
Just
Steph, who is taking a bigger leap in training
We
camp?
Yeah, we have Huff in the comments. We got Kinlaw in the comments. Bro pick C during true or false.
I'm gonna say Ayuk.
Okay.
And the reason I say Ayuk is because, well, one, I think fans were expecting him to take a leap in his second year. We saw that didn't happen. He spent some time in the doghouse. We could all assume, like, we don't want to call it the doghouse, or Shanahan doesn't call it the doghouse, but let's just call it what it is. It was a doghouse.
Mhm.
And I think, like, he kind of took that personally, but he turned it into a positive, right? Like, you saw the second half of the season, like, he continued to improve and you see him locked in. And wide receivers typically, like, they really get into their zone and take that next step in the third year. So I think this is going to be the year for Brandon Ayuk. Now, also with the fact that Trey Lance, his skill set complements what Brandon Ayuk does well. They've been training together this offseason. Like, I think both of those together, like, they're gonna. It's Ayuk season, as Mariah said in the comments. It's Ayuk season. Let's go.
I love it.
Real quick, Jay, before you get to yours, we have a super chat here from Arturo
from the Spicy Squad. Let's go, my boy.
Yes, sir. From the Spicy Squad as well. So he says, Chris Sims even said Jimmy is a better quarterback than Trey. Absolute blasphemy. If you mortgage a franchise to downgrade, or you don't mortgage a franchise to downgrade.
So, Arturo, I agree with the ceiling is higher with Trey, but I don't disagree with the whole and this is me just after slandering this man this entire time, Arturo, and I'm gonna respectfully disagree right here. He is a better quarterback in the sense that you at least know what Jimmy is at this point. I think we have no idea what Trey is. So at that point, with what Chris was saying, I agree with that. Now, do I think that Jimmy is the quarterback that he is, because we know who he is going to be better than what Trey will be? Absolutely not. And that's where I'll agree with you 100%. There's no way that you sent all those picks for a guy that is a baseline guy like that. If that was the case, stay at 12, pick Mac Jones, and none of us would have been upset. None of us. You know why? You would have had Mac at 12, but you would have kept your first rounder for 3 years. And you would have been able to insulate Mac Jones with this play caller, and this offense would have operated similarly. And that's fine. But I think that and this is to your point, Arturo, this is 100% true. And I agree with you here, 100%. The ceiling is just too much bigger. And the explosive plays. The explosive plays this team had were yards after catch, not air yards in the air, right? And I know air yards aren't the way that it's become a meme now at this point. But I think that what Chris said about this, Arturo, was fair in terms of we know what Jimmy is, and he's a starter in this league. And we believe that Trey Lance is. And I think this is more to Steph's point. You can't make sweeping statements one way or the other. I'm not going to sit in front of this camera and tell you that Trey Lance is about to be Patrick Mahomes. You know why? Because I don't know. Do I believe that he is going to be great? Yes. But to sit there and say, hey, I expect this guy to throw 50 tutties and coming out the gate, because he had a year off, that's foolish. But at the same time, I completely agree with what you said. But I do agree with Chris on this portion of it, that right now, you know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And Jimmy Garoppolo, shoulder surgery, is a better quarterback at this point than Trey is. He just doesn't offer the ceiling that Trey does. So I disagree with half, but I agree with your entire overarching point in terms of they didn't move over to downgrade, and I don't think that they believe that they did. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way because I said it earlier. Like, I did agree that Chris Sims said he had him ranked lower just because we don't know what Trey Lance is yet. So in that sense, like, yeah, I could totally see right now Jimmy Garoppolo being ranked higher at this moment. He's more polished. He's a better NFL quarterback, right? At this moment, because Trey Lance hasn't even had the opportunity. He hasn't had the chance to, be a starting NFL quarterback right now. So when we see that, then we can start to make comparisons and really rank them. And Chris Sims even said, so again, like I didn't agree with everything he said because I only heard these two things. So he also acknowledged the fact that Trey Lance could also shoot up his rankings this season
So he
based on how
hedged
he
everything.
plays.
He hedged
Did. I
everything.
mean, are you surprised?
No, I'm not. At the end, so here's the part that I think was a little bit lost because we started frothing at the mouth when he started saying all that stuff about, what was going on. But
Yeah.
what he said at the end was, I wouldn't be shocked if he shot up the rankings and took the 49ers back to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So see,
Yeah.
here's also what I want to tell you guys about media. And this is what I learned a lot at the Senior Bowl. You say things, but then you make sure you word it in a way that gives you outs. And even Steve Young did it very well on the Rich Eisen show. It was a masterclass in being able to say, I've heard, but there's also this. So you can always point to something else. There we go. We got a junior analyst in the building right now. But it was really funny because the end of it, he said, I wouldn't be shocked if he shot up my rankings, and I wouldn't be shocked if he took this team back to the NFC title game. And I felt like nobody got that. And that is what the lesson of today is, folks. Don't listen to just the little part of it. Listen to all of it. And you know what gets me more mad? Stand on what you say. If you believe that Trey Lance is going to be bad, say that. Don't give yourself the trap door that you can get back out of, that you can show to. That's the part that's weak. Say what you want to say and say it and stand on it. And that is the part that I had a little bit of an issue with, and I felt like kind of got swept under the rug.
I have a trouble doing that PR movement at the end. Like I just say what I say, and I forget to like give myself that out at the end. I need to get better at that. I need to get better at. But at the end of the day, I don't really care because if that's my opinion, that's my opinion. If I'm wrong, so be it. Like you can't bat 1,000. In baseball, you get on base 30% of the time. You're a Hall of Famer. So if I'm right 30% of the time, I'm probably the best person to ever talk about sports because realistically, these guys are probably closer to 3% correct.
But we also got to remember when we say things and we get them wrong, no one's really coming for our heads. When it comes to national media, it's their reputation on the line, so they do have to kind of give themselves an out. Like I get it, but from the fan standpoint, we have to learn to take all of these comments with a grain of salt for that reason.
100%. So back to before we got back on this because of the super chat, shout out to Arturo, man. The player that I'm most excited about taking another leap it's not exactly sexy, but it's a guy that I'm very excited for, who has played very well. It's Azeez Al-Shaair. The growth that I saw going forward at the end of the year in terms of the things that a lot of people felt, well, Greenlaw's got to play because Azeez can't cover. Azeez was doing that. And D'Amico Ryans was instrumental in the growth of Azeez. And this is the game that I really was like, man, this guy has arrived for real. And it wasn't a nice game. It wasn't a fun game. The 49ers lost to Seattle. But Fred Warner didn't play in that game. Azeez Al-Shaair wore the green dot, meaning he was in there giving all the calls. He literally almost had his Dre Greenlaw moment when he stripped at the goal line. I forget who it was. Was it Rashard Penny? It was one of those like 12 backs that they have over there. Travis Homer, I believe it was. And gave Jimmy Garoppolo that shot to even get that close to the 4 attempts at the goal line. Azeez Al-Shaair, for me, is the guy that this team speaks so highly of. And don't take it from me. Take it from the second round tender that they placed on Azeez Al-Shaair. Like, if you want to take Azeez, you got to give us a second rounder. They're not playing. And Azeez is a guy, again, for as much as we talk about the misses in the NFL draft with these guys, these undrafted free agents, they've done a hell of a job with. I mean, Emmanuel Mosley was the best cornerback in the league, and now possibly with the Jason Verrett signing, we're talking about Emmanuel Mosley kicking inside and being a slot corner. That is incredible when you really think about development and how you've been able to develop guys. We laud Chris Kocurek for being able to get guys paid. Arden Key got paid. Kerry Hyder got paid, came back. And every single person that they bring in on the defensive line, Torrey from Indianapolis, we're all excited for because of Chris Kocurek. But it kind of goes by the wayside for other guys. Azeez was probably for a large portion of the season, because even Fred Warner would tell you that he didn't play his best football at certain points, was for a long time the best linebacker on this team. Fred went nuclear in the playoffs, though. Like that was like what you paid for. Like anybody, it started in the Tennessee game where you started to see Fred getting back to like just like being the all-pro Fred that we all expected. But Azeez Al-Shaair, man, now at a point, I had been at a point last season where I said, hey, man, you could be able to move from Dre Greenlaw at this point because of how good Azeez Al-Shaair is. And Dre Greenlaw still has a reputation across the league. You can get a second or a third for him. That's big. That's big capital they drafted him, in the 5th or something like that? Like, that's big capital. But I'm excited to see Azeez Al-Shaair again, healthy for the whole season, playing. How much of it will be 3 linebackers? How much of it will be whoever it is playing well? I don't know. But I'm excited to see his growth because I had a blast watching him play football. He for large stretches of the season, was the best linebacker on his team.
I'll go ahead and say this. I think it'll be Aaron Banks, because where is he at right now? Like, he hasn't started for 49ers, hasn't taken a snap in a regular season game for the 49ers, and he's someone that people had a lot of expectations for. But yet his production, like you really can't go any lower than that. Like not taking a snap, you can't go lower than that. But I think he's going to be a solidified starter because when you have Trent Williams on the left side, and what we assume at this point, Alex Mack will be back. It feels a little weird if he just takes this long and then decides to retire. To me, that just feels a little weird, despite the whole, makeup and wording of conversations may sound like he leans towards retirement. But I'm just going to say, as of now, he comes back. You have those two guys sandwiched in between you. What does that do for your NFL career? It's going to expedite it. Guys who've had made multiple Pro Bowls, not just one in a random year. No, multiple Pro Bowls. One of them's going to be a Hall of Famer in Trent Williams. And what did we see with Lincoln when he had both of those guys? Lincoln had a career year. It was his best year on the 49ers. Now we're talking about someone who's younger, probably has the same amount of strength, and I'm excited to see what Aaron Banks is going to do. I think he's someone who's going to stand out a lot. He's going to be in a lot of conversations now moving forward. And, I don't think I'm necessarily making a hard choice on this one. I feel like a lot of people could have said Aaron Banks, and it kind of feels like that would have been an easy decision to say because similar, you can't go worse from not starting. So that means you can only get up. So that's what I'm excited about. I think Alex Mack comes back. And then when you're sandwiched between those two, it's just going to help you out, especially when you have a quarterback like Trey. Trey's not going to be a sitting duck. It's not like Aaron Banks is going to give up hella sacks because his quarterback can't move. His quarterback's a statue. No, if he does get beat time to time, Trey's the type of quarterback to run himself out of those sacks to where it doesn't essentially show up on the stat sheet for someone like Aaron Banks. And that's where people get a little confused with the offensive lineman stats as they look at sacks. How many sacks did they give up? Okay, well, who were they protecting? Were they protecting someone that can go ahead and escape it? Or were they protecting someone who's a sitting duck? Who do you think?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep looking at him. I keep looking at little Leo. Like little Leo's like, what the hell is Dad talking about right now? Look at me. Hey, we got one more super chat actually too from
Yeah, let's get
49ers
to it.
throwback. If you want to throw that up, yeah, real quick. I mean, look,
49ers
we're
throwback.
already
Appreciate you.
already at an hour. We had plans to talk about other things. Maybe we should run it back again so we can not talk about Trey Lance and things like that. But it seems to be the overarching thing. So 49ers throwback. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate you so much. Hey Jason, sup Leo, and she means sub stuff too. Do you think Trey Lance will be great? Also, who are you excited to see in camp? I think nobody wants Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he'll be great. And who I'm excited to see in camp, for me, the guy that I think is going to take the leap is Azeez Al-Shaair. But who am I excited to see in camp? It's going to be these linemen, honestly. And I think I've been hanging around with Brad too much because he's starting to push me towards offensive linemen, and I want to see how they We're all going to be at camp together, so we're all going to be watching one thing, and I'm going to let Brad watch the offensive line, but I want to see Donovan West. I want to see Jason Poe. I want to see Aaron Banks. I want to see Spencer Burford. I want to see what is going to happen going forward. I want to see Mike McGlinchey. And we had the doc on my channel, and he talked about, he's going to be at training camp. He should be a week 1, but he explicitly stated that he expects him to be the same in pass protection. I know that scares everybody else in the chat, but he says that he views him this year to take a step back in the things that he has done well, which is run protection, and that he wouldn't get back to himself if he was back the next year. And we all know Mike McGlinchey's on his 5th-year option, meaning the 49ers have a decision to make. Do you extend Mike McGlinchey and sign him while he is an unrestricted free agent? So I am more excited to find out what's going on with this offensive line, especially as we know the future is going to be Trey Lance going forward. So that's my answer. Steph, what do you think?
On the will Trey Lance be great? I mean, I certainly believe so. I think he has the skill sets. He's going into a great situation for him. But again, I keep saying this, it might take some time for him to be like that polished guy, to be on the level of, the Herberts and the Josh Allens, so I'll be patient with him. But who am I excited to see in camp? My answers actually surprised myself because I'm going to go with Ty Davis Price for one of them. Well, okay, I'll just stick with the one name, Ty Davis Price. And the reason why that answer surprises me is because I actually was not a fan of the TDP pick. When it first happened, my immediate reaction was, this is terrible. Why are we getting a running back in the 3rd round again? But the more that I've not only heard about him, but have actually seen of him, I'm just very excited to see what he will look like in this offense. I think it's going to add a new wrinkle, and really, I think he might get the most snaps out of anyone out of the running backs because he's going to be that bruiser. And to me, they took him because they know he can take the hits. He's a slightly bigger guy. And they've had some issues with injuries at the running back position. In the last couple of years, even Elijah Mitchell, I mean, they used him a lot last year and he paid for it. He had a lot of injuries that he played through. So I would say Ty Davis Price, I think he's going to be, better than a lot of us think.
Like it. Leo, and then we could take it home right after this probably because you gotta do daddy stuff.
Yeah, who are you excited to see in camp?
Little Leo, let's go, man. Oh my god. That was it. That little smile was it.
I'm gonna say whoever starts that opposite of Jimmy Ward. That's who I'm excited to see in camp. And we focus so much on Deebo Samuel. We focus so much on the quarterback position, as we should. But I don't feel like we're doing enough coverage on who the hell is starting opposite of Jimmy Ward, because Kwaski Tart played at a high level last year, and if he doesn't chase down Aaron Jones, this team's not in the NFC Championship. Let's keep it a buck. So, is it George Odom? I like what I see from Odom. I do. His measurables are really close to Kwaski Tart as well. And then what's the if it's Hufanga, like what's the plan? Because I don't see Hufanga as a high safety. They did it some with him last year. Didn't really work out well. When he's closer to the line of scrimmage, you could see Hufanga do some really, really special things because his football IQ is there. He's just not a high safety, and that's okay. There's been a lot of good safeties to come in and out of this league that aren't necessarily meant to play deep, aren't meant to play that middle third. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that other safety opposite of Jimmy Ward. If it's Hufanga, does Jimmy Ward, does he take 100% of that high safety ball hawking role? I think that may benefit him because I'm a fan of Jimmy Ward. I think he could do it all. But the issue is if you have him do that, then you also lose some of his other abilities as well, as far as coming down, playing some nickel during some dime situations.
Playing in the box and being able to stuff the run.
Yeah, like when he got the second interception against Stafford on that Monday Night Football game, it was because he was playing that slot corner position, and that ball was able to jump into his arms, and he was able to house it from there. So it's like you would lose some of that. So I'm interested. I'm excited to see what that battle turns into. And I named those two guys specifically because I don't think it's Tarvarius Moore. He's coming off a major injury, and he gave up 7 touchdowns the year before. So it's just, we'll see if he proves me wrong. If he straight up DJ reads me and cuts his clip and put it on there, that's cool. I'm happy.
But he can't do that if he's on the team.
Hell yeah, Eric Armstead does it to Grant. Come on.
He wouldn't do that if he was on the team. I think DJ Reed, because the question was specifically if he went to Seattle, would you? And you were like, yeah, no, I don't care. And then so it was like and then he literally went to Seattle and manifested it. And then I feel like the underlying dig was that he used that Kodak Black Super Gremlin in the video too. I was like, damn, man. I was like, that hurts a little bit. Like, come on.
I know. Hold on.
Hey, whatever.
DJ Reed was a big loss for the 49ers.
No, they won't miss him at all. It's fine. And if Seattle does decide to play him at nickel cornerback, that's good for the 49ers offense.
Oh, go crazy.
For you, my nigga, I'm gonna be your killer. Nobody gonna play with you.
All right, that's all we need to see from there.
Can't believe you have that saved.
Yeah,
no, it's so good.
Yeah, own that bozo, DJ. Own that bozo. I had to cut my hair and style it differently after that. I had to get I had to get a makeover.
I'll never forget that day because I text Leo. I was like, DJ Reed just put you on the Summer Jam screen. And he was like, what the hell? And then, and it was just there. Yeah.
What does this mean? I got a notification from Bleacher Report
saying
San Francisco is seen as a contender to land Yankee star in his upcoming free agency. Judge could sign with the Giants.
Who cares? Nobody's here for baseball. You're not signing him. Come on, look. But what I remember clearly about this is it comes across, and I open it up, and I'm like, that's Leo, and I send it to Leo. I'm like, Leo, DJ Reed's kind of like owning you on the timeline, and it was just like after that, everybody just went crazy in our group chat. But at the same time, DJ Reed gets to do that, right? Because I'm a guy who thrives on, you tell me I can't do something and I've got a receipt, and that's what I'm doing. This is my last little spicy take. If I ever catch any of you saying anything bad about Trey Lance and Trey Lance ends up being a baller, I'm not letting any of you hear the end of it. Look me in my face right here in this camera. I am not playing with any of you. I am not going to take it easy on any of you. I'm going to run. And cyberbullying is sometimes it works. And this time it will work. So you better hope that Trey doesn't ball. But so this comes across and I'm just like, damn, Leo, he kind of has something right here. But it's just when those other guys, when that wide receiver that was on there that's never caught a pass.
That's what Joey said in the comments. Zero catch, dude.
Right. When that zero catch dude tried to say something, I was like, oh, no. We're not letting this slide. And then people were like, oh, well, he's where you're at. I never wanted to be an NFL player. And if I was an NFL player, he's got the same amount of catches as me, so I don't care. And I ran his ass out of here. But DJ Reed gets to get that, and that's what happens, right? We're in the business of give and takes in the same way that Steph talked about earlier. National media, they kind of get roasted when you put things out there. Leo just got put on that Summer Jam screen because he's famous like that. That's it, bro. I would have just been like, you know what? I take the L. Kanye got mad when South Park made fun of him. I would have celebrated that and been like, man, I was on a South Park episode. I'd have been super excited. It's just, you got to be able to take it. That's
it's I could have been like, oh, that clip was 2 years old. But I was like, For what? Like,
just run with it. And you said, hey, man, you got me.
You got me.
Congratulations. That's it, bro. That's all you can do.
You got me. We got JC49 Fish, Niner for life, in the comments saying, what's up from El Paso, Texas? Fun fact. That's actually why I'm a Mavericks fan. Entire family, San Francisco. I was literally just born in Texas. That's it. I was literally just born in El Paso, Texas, to be in fact. So growing up, family relocated to San Diego because it was supposed to be a stopping point to San Francisco. Next, you know, my mom was like, this weather is amazing. Let's live here. So my dad was like, all right, bet. And so basketball, like, Warriors were never on TV because they weren't that good. Like, it was that in between phase. They weren't good. So they never got the primetime plays. And the Mavericks were. They had Steve Nash, Dirk, and next you know, I just see this 7-foot dude playing for a team in Texas draining threes. And I was like, all right, bet. I was born in Texas. Like, that's my team. So that's why I went with the Mavs. And, you know, my whole family's Warriors fans. And so that's where I come from. I'm okay if the Mavericks get eliminated. But when it came to football and baseball, my dad gave me no choice. He had me, you know, 49ers every Sunday, Giants, you know, every baseball season. That was my little league team. No.
Padres.
My little league team every single year.
Padres.
Was.
Padres.
Yeah, don't you cover the Padres or something?
Padres.
I do cover the Padres now, but that's okay.
Season ticket holder for the Padres.
Hey, I will say this though. Mark Cuban, you know, I'm a fan of Mark Cuban. He's my favorite shark on Shark Tank. And yeah, it's gonna suck when we have to beat them in 5 games. Yeah.
5?
Oh. 5 games? Hey, man.
I'm sticking with 5. They'll get one. They'll
When?
get one.
Mavs in 7.
Game 3. He said it.
No, they're gonna win in Dallas. They're gonna win at least one in Dallas.
Hey,
they'll win one in Dallas. That's it.
Look, let's go do daddy stuff. Let's promote everybody. So look, thank you guys for being here. An hour and 12 minutes. We didn't plan for it to be us, you know, talking about the quarterback position, but hey, that's where we're at on May 19th. Appreciate every single person that's tuned in. Shout out to the Spicy Squad. Shout out to everybody that is liking this video, subscribed, and it has the notification bells on my channel. Make sure that you do that on Steph's channel. Steph, tell them where they can find all your stuff as well too.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys watching. You can find me on youtube.com .com/Stragosaurus, and you can find me on Twitter at Stragosaurus as well, STRAGO
And Leo,
right there, we got all the handles there. You guys just type it into your phone. Steph, you might be the same on Instagram as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Steph's the same on Instagram. For Jay, just take out Jason, put in Jay.
It's JAY, only because look, my Instagram is littered with people that know me, and nobody ever calls me Jason. I've had to like get to the point where
he yelled at me. We met in person. I was like, "Yo, Jason, hey, B, that's not my name. Dead ass."
I didn't say B. Like, get out of here. Dead ass. I didn't say B, fam. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that, dog. Like, for real. Like, in don't make me get New York here. Like, look, for real. Like, nobody calls me Jason. Like, the person that calls me Jason is my mom, and that's when I know I'm in trouble. Like, nobody calls me Jason. Everybody calls me Jay. Even people
noted.
Like, the name Jason is such an 80s name that if you said Jason in my high school, 12 dudes turned around. And like you had to start saying dude's last name. So people call me either Jay or Aponte. Like nobody ever calls me Jason. So it's kind of like me trying to acclimate myself to this because so many people just know me as Jason. It's wild. Y'all might as well just call me, like Hendrick said, y'all might as well just call me Austin Rivers, because when he was with the Knicks, I was this close to pulling up with a mask and just walking through like and just being like, and Austin Rivers tries to walk in, they'd be like, "You're already here, man. Get his ass out of here."
It's like, "Hi, I'm with team."
Hi, I'm Austin.
I'm with them.
Hey, they'd be like, "Hey, can you believe this fake Austin Rivers? Like talking about the real Austin Rivers?
The real Austin Rivers? They'd be like,
yeah, this fake Austin Rivers.
Some guy tried to impersonate you. I'd be like, these weirdos, man."
I would have loved to see Jay go out there and take a jump shot.
No, the worst part is Austin Rivers was getting burned. They would have been like, "Get out there," and I'd be like, "Oh shit, man. I'm gonna have to cover like actual NBA players. This ain't pickup."
Nice, is Austin Rivers done?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, but like, is Austin Rivers washed? And it's just like me, like running down the court, like holding my hamstring. All right, let's get out of here, Leo.
Perfect. Well, appreciate all you guys in the comments. We'll do this again. Steph, first ever Zaddy Ball guest. So let's do it.